Yes, I started it.
Okay, good. So after I wrap up this short talk, we are going to introduce people who are extremely familiar with the graduate application process and also an expert on writing SOPs. We will have information, and we do have it on our website, but this is a chance for you to hear it from the teachers who are in the field and get an idea of what you can do to make your SOP exceptional. When you finish your first draft of the SOP, and as Burcu mentioned, it should be in Word form, you send it to the Grad App site, and we will distribute it to one of our extremely professional readers and editors who will give you feedback. Very often they ask you to rewrite parts. They say, you can send it back to me again. Let me see the part you redid. Do you have any questions? They're very willing to enter into a dialogue with you. So do use Grad App and those possibilities, and we hope that you will get the best SOP possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You are very fast, really.
All right.
We are very getting difficulties to catch you up because your group, because you are very fastly responding. Yes. Thank you very much.
Well, I thank all of the editors, all of us who work there.
Yeah, they are hardworking. For our students, thank you very much for your efforts, for everything you are making.
Well, I want to tell you that we are all volunteers. I mean, we've had professional careers in education and in English and in editing, but we do this because we believe in you, and we want your SOP the best it can so that you can be the best applicant and end up going to the school of your dreams.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anne. And Anne was used to be a counselor in Robert College, and now she is working with us, and we are very happy to work with her, and thank her again and again for this organization, for everything they are making during the semester. And thank you very much, Anne. And now we have speakers, two speakers. Maybe we can introduce, or you?
No, you go ahead. You introduce them. Go ahead.
Okay, we have two very important speakers here. I see Aylin now at the beginning. Aylin is our instructor, Aylin Vartanyan. You know her very well in different areas, different scopes, and we'd like to thank her for coming here and introducing this beautiful event and presentation. Hello, Aylin. Do you want to say anything before your presentation?
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for your invitation, and thanks for making this possible every year with great effort. As Anne said before, this work is done voluntarily with the priceless, actually, support coming from a group of women who are professionals but also want to support the precious students of Boğaziçi University. So thank you very much. And thank you, Burcu, for involving the Career Center also in this process, and also paving the way for the new academic ventures, maybe outside of Turkey, which is, as you both said, is becoming very, very competitive. Things have changed tremendously also after the COVID term. And Gamze might talk more about it, maybe. She's more in the field. She's also a colleague and a good friend of mine. Yeah. I'm glad we are here together. So I would like to walk you through how to write an SOP process. And I updated the presentation a little bit. I can share it with you too, so that it can be uploaded onto the website also. You can follow all the presentation through there. But I would like to walk you through this presentation also. Okay. Welcome again. Okay.
And your presentation is available in our website also. I showed it
Yes.
at the beginning.
Yes, I updated it a little bit. I put some more information into it, so I can share the new form if you want.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yes, before I start, I would like to say that this form of writing SOPs are meant for English-speaking countries. And I hear also from many students that non-English-speaking countries are also very much in demand. So I would like to consider this presentation is meant for English-speaking countries, mostly for European, American, Canadian countries. The non-European, non-North American countries might work differently, but still the idea is the same, because this is a transition period. You transiting from being an undergrad student to a master's or a PhD student, and this transition also involves a look into yourself. Where am I now? What do I want to do? So this presentation is also prepared having this transitionary period in mind. Okay, I'm going to share the presentation with you now.
Okay, thank you. And we are listening.
Yes,
now
we are like students.
Yes.
Okay. So statement.
Excuse me, Aylin, if our students have some questions, can they ask from chat box, or will you give time for questions and answers?
With Gamze, we thought maybe we can do the presentations first together, then we can take the question and answers. Okay. Is that format okay? Just for the sake of keeping the questions in mind, because they might come, put it in chat, and maybe after we finish, after we are both finished, after me and Gamze are finished with the presentations, we might move to the question and answer part. Gamze, is that okay with you too?
Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine, Aylin, go
Okay.
ahead.
So this statement of purpose is also prepared with the support of Diane Özbal, who also is one of the readers, and her feedback also means a lot for us because she's one of the readers. So the first question is, what is the purpose of the statement of purpose? Okay. And this quote, I took it from a person who is the director of the graduate admissions at University of North Georgia, and it says a lot about the purpose of the SOP. The statement of purpose, according to Maxwell, gives an applicant the opportunity to express non-quantifiable characteristics for consideration to an admissions committee. So what does non-quantifiable mean? Actually, if you apply to any university, you know, you have to submit your transcripts, your work, your research projects, etc. And these are mostly considered to be quantifiable characteristics of you that can be just looked at and made a decision about. But non-quantifiable characteristics are mostly about you, who you are, what your maybe dreams about the future is, how you can actually, how you maybe want to introduce yourself into this new phase of your life as a scholar, as a future academician, or as a future master's student. So personal and professional strengths stand out, of course, and goals or passion for career fields related to the academic program have to be also expressed. You know, graduate school is rigorous and admission is often competitive. We said this before too. And we want, she says, to select students who are not only academically qualified, but also show commitment to achieving success in the program from start to finish. So your dedication to the program should also stand out in your SOPs. Okay, you know, also staying close to Maxwell says, what can we say about our personal background in the SOPs? What can be said about the personal information? So your story, your background, your story stands out. Your specialties and strengths, your skills and knowledge, your clear articulation of goals and interests. What do you hope to accomplish with this degree? And addressing the question of why. your vision about yourself in the field. And in this process, you'll see a talk with a mentor, a good friend, a teacher, a family member helps a lot. And of course, we always start early when you start writing your SOPs. This process takes a very long time. So you can just put these things onto a paper or onto your computer screen on a Word document, but you have to go back and revise it again and again, okay? So personal information, we said, how about academic background? What about your academic background except your transcripts, right? Not only your grades, but what else can go into your SOP about your academic background? Your academic interests may go into it. You might also have some academic interests that are not related to your undergraduate program. You might want to explore more or add more to the subject you studied as an undergraduate. All these things go into this part. Your academic achievements, strengths can go into it too. Make sure you refer to a thesis, paper, or project that you have accomplished. I mean, rather than just saying, I'm interested in this, I have achieved this, make sure that you refer to a work, to a project you have done. Qualifications for graduate research and readiness for independent work. A graduate school is a place in which your individuation also starts. That's why it's important for you to work as an independent scholar and do research on your own, sometimes without the guidance of a mentor. Okay, so you have to also explain these qualifications, if possible, in your SOP. Your lab and project experiences, if you have any, if they are applicable, are very vivid examples too, that they may go into SOP too. Again, a talk with a professor who knows you well might help. And also, you might also make a research about the institution you plan to apply to, and also tell the audience that is going to read your SOP, why are you a good fit to this program, okay? Apart from the academic background of the applicant, the professional experience might also make you a candidate that may stand out of many who are applying. Your professional employability experience, your professional experience. Again, a talk with a professional mentor might help. And how your professional experience relates to the field you want to study. You have to bring this together somehow too. How may your SOP stand out? This is the biggest question, of course, always. I mean, I would like to share some quotes from, again, professionals in the field. This is from David Garland. He says, most statement of purposes, unfortunately, look quite the same. There is nothing distinctive about the person in it. Personal characteristics, experiences, and specific interest in the field should be actually maybe storied in a way, storied in such a way that it attracts the attention of the reader. I will say more about this, hopefully. And also introducing non-cognitive skills in SOPs is important for standing out. And Liesl Fox from Buffalo SUNY says that also in a beautiful way. She says, what do we mean by non-cognitive skills? We mean all of these attributes of the student that are more likely to help them succeed than not. This includes grit and determination, evidence that students have been able to overcome challenges in their studies or part of their lives. Now, this is a very important line here, right? Grit, determination, and the ability to overcome challenges in their studies or part of their lives. How can you actually determine also what challenges you have encountered in your life and how you overcame them? Maybe overcoming is not even the right word. It's always a process overcoming. So that's why it's important that you talk about the challenge, the process that challenge put you into. And again, as I said, talk about your individuation process. How, you know, university life, the undergrad life is also a process of becoming an adult, you know, from becoming a young person to becoming a young adult. And all these challenges help us grow up. And there are great stories in this growing up processes. If you have any, I'm sure most of you have many, just start thinking about them, put them on paper, and start thinking about which one would be the best story to tell. Timeline. Of course, it's very important to have a timeline if you are applying very soon. Start thinking about your SOPs early. Give yourselves at least 2 months to prepare, if not more. Take notes, you know, take notes based on all this information I shared with you before about your personal background, academic background, you know, professional background, if you have any, and also think about stories of challenges or how you overcame these challenges, or how this process of being an undergrad student helped you become an adult, a young adult, and you know what you are doing now as a future master students, and make sure that people who are reading your SOPs understand that you are ready to further to bring your studies further. Now, in these 2 months, what can you do? Talk to mentors in your surroundings, teachers, parents, friends, I don't know, professional mentors maybe. Take notes, keep a booklet maybe and take notes, or keep computer, on your computer you can take notes too, on a file. Create a file for this work, actually. It's a good idea. Creating a mind map also works wonderful. There are some people who work better visually, so use it. Use your visuals also to help you create your ideas that you want to put into your SOP. And write and rewrite. They help a lot too. Some people also work great with visual maps, mind maps. You can also create a map like that in your room and put visuals from your life on this kind of map, let's say, that would help you find your story, which one works best. And one of the most important questions is that how do you grab the attention of the readers in your SOP? I mean, imagine this, all these directors of admissions offices are reading thousands of SOPs every year, and that's why they keep saying that they are all alike. So how do you grab the attention of the reader from the beginning on? Anecdotes help. Be realistic and honest. Avoid being childish and avoid starting your statement with a reference that you wanted to study in this field since you were 5. I mean, this is a very common, actually, mistake. People think that sharing their childhood heroic stories might help them, and we keep stories since we were 5. You know, stories like I was a great Lego constructor when I was 5. I could construct a whole city. Who you are today as a prospective MA or PhD student, you might have a personal experience, a unique personal experience, an aha moment in your life that might have transformed you deeply. Try to find that story. There might be many, but try to find the story that might also push you, or that is channeling you towards becoming a prospective MA or PhD student. Sometimes a quote from a favorite author, writer, philosopher, or even a film or TV series might help. But you have to somehow connect it to your academic field or who you are or who you want to be as a scholar, okay? And as I said before, a story of how you overcame a challenge, how you deal with challenges also. Again, the word overcoming might not also be the right word. Sometimes the challenge might still be there, but your process of dealing with that challenge, the process of dealing with that challenge can also be a good story. And stick to the purpose in the statement of purpose. What is your aspiration to study in the field is also very important. Now, I find this also very freshly online. You can check this website. And there are some examples about how to write statement of purposes. What grad schools do want to see. And it says, we want to know why a student is pursuing admission to this particular program. We look for wording and language showing evidence that the applicant thoroughly and carefully researched the program. This is important too. Applicants should strive to illustrate why it's a mutually beneficial fit. This is also very important. If you take me, I can do this for your program, blah, blah, that kind of stories, including drawing clear connections between the degree and any of their future goals. Many students forget the simple step of clearly outlining what they are willing to commit to the program. I have not mentioned this before in the presentation, but you also have, as a future graduate students, mention how you can contribute to the program that you're applying to, okay? And how you are willing, how much are you willing to commit to this program, your enthusiasm in a way. And Maxwell also says, we don't want to see the following. We don't want to see poor writing or grammar. You are actually very lucky, thanks to Anne Kozlu's wonderful sport. Your writing and grammar will be processed by a group of volunteers. Similarly, she says, lackadaisical statements of purpose will be dismissed. I'm sure this word sounds a bit foreign to you. Lackadaisical means statements or language that lacks enthusiasm. So words, sentences, or stories without enthusiasm. This kind of mechanical form of sharing your aspirations or your maybe also qualities is not what we want to see. So how can you put passion into your SOPs? That's another question. Maxwell also says, we also want to see students who understand how to maximize character limits to reflect substance. This is very important. I see this in my classes also. For the sake of writing a long essay, sometimes you fill the essay with empty statements. That's why you use enthusiasm. One can easily use the enthusiasm. So that's why starting early with your SOPs may help you avoid writing SOPs without substance. Substance precedes character number or word limit, okay? So try to be mindful about this too. Now, there's a list that is shared by Diane Özbal, who is one of the readers of SOPs too. She was kind enough to share her observations, what lacks, what is not working in the previous SOPs. She mentioned lack of sentence variety. She mentioned lots of sentences starting with I was a problem. I mean, using I is not a problem in your SOPs. You can start your sentences with I, but the overuse of I may cause some repetitious feeling in the reader. And using active sentences are important. It's important. It's okay. But Diane is okay in an SOP, but try to refer to your qualifications related to your field as much as possible. how you dealt with a challenge or conflict in your field. Again, this keeps coming up as you see, how to deal with
problems, I think, in the school.
And very common with students from
Oh, yes.
Boğaziçi.
Yes. Yes, Aylin.
Okay, and again, as Maxwell said before, avoid useless information. Again, useless information is also indicator of lack of enthusiasm too. So remember the fact that your SOP will be read by professionals in the field. Do not shower them with information that they already know about, or they might not be interested about. Okay, so coherence in your SOPs are important. Diane Özbal was also kind enough to give examples. Too long, I will not order them. Explore them in your own time and space, because this presentation will be uploaded onto the website. Okay. This was unnecessary words before and after. You see how it changes. And right are a merit, but writing precision is more important. Precision and necessary content is more important than length. Again, another example of unnecessary words. These are from real writers, real examples. That's why they are precious. And overuse of I, me, and my. You can see it visually here. This is before, this is after. You can still keep them, but make it shorter, or combine sentences. Again, overuse of I, me, and my, before and after. And use this information unrelated to your field, before and after. You can see how much, sometimes we think that creating a piece of writing is about putting things together, but writing is more about getting rid of the unnecessary content in the writing, in the piece of composed information we have. So that's why we always say start early, so that you can actually reach to the center of your story and your SOP, your purpose. These are some examples about how to write statement of purpose samples. These are all going to be shared online, so don't worry about it. Okay, so let me stop here. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening. So I pass the floor to Gamze, I guess, right?
Thank you, Aylin. It was a great presentation.
Very good, very good.
Do you want to add anything?
No, I think it's very specific, and I'm glad the kids can go back to the website and review it, because there's a lot of information there, but they can review it in their own time and pick up the most important points.
Yeah. Academic career, please link, be careful about this link in our website. And now the turn is Gamze's, and Gamze is one of our alumni and very important one, because she's professionally working in this area, studying abroad and sending students to the graduate schools abroad and universities abroad also. And welcome, Gamze, welcome to our seminar. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much, Burcu.
It's very nice to see you. And Gamze is also an academician, associated professor in Istanbul University. Thank you for coming in your busy schedule, Gamze. I know you are very busy. And thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Okay, nice meeting you again. And then I'm going to talk about the details regarding to the application process.
Yes.
Maybe more than 20 years I'm working on this field, and more importantly than this, I'm specialized on higher education. I'm as a professor in this field, I'm working on the higher education future of the jobs, what is going to be happen in the coming 30 years, 50 years. We are working with World Economic Forum, OECD, and UN also, in order to decide about the future of the universities. This is very critical. For that reason, I'm strongly agree with Aylin. Aylin is a close friend of mine, maybe more than 30 years, I think. And then we are always in this field. And then, you know, we are working with many different projects, even, you know, at the center of peace. We are very close about social innovation and social issues even. Right now, I'm going to give the details regarding to the strategy, what kind of strategy we have to use while applying to the universities. That's the reason why I'm going to give some really critical steps that we can share. Later on, you can, let's say, ask questions about the details. I'm going to share with you right now. Okay. First, I called the presentation the career decisions. This is very important. Most of the time, we are missing that part. Don't forget it that undergrad studies is totally different than the grad studies. Most of the time, students forget to think twice about his or her career. This is very important. That's the reason why you have to think future of the jobs and then graduate studies. These are the hashtag that we are using most of the time. And I call that before the next, think about near next. This is very critical. That's the reason why in this field, we specifically use three let's say, or four important, how can I say, terminology. We call them first reverse engineering. Most of the time, the students, the coming, let's say, future leaders or trailblazers, think twice about reverse engineering. Additionally, in academia, we call them translational research. It is a very, very important thing about the next future in order to decide about your personal career. That's the reason why, you know, right now, I don't know who, you know, which class are coming, but personally, I think that the first freshmen, even today, we don't call anymore freshmen because of this the inclusion issues. We call them first year students. They have to think at the beginning, what is going to be happen in the near future. This is the reason why third grade sophomores or seniors, they have to be so quick about deciding about their futures. Right now, we have to decide about the next future 40, 60 years after graduation, because you create values. There are students who are going to be a member of class of 2020 or 2026. They are going to create values during these periods. Think about that. Right now, we are thinking about not only next year or 10 years later, but we are thinking about 2066, even 90s. Think about like that. That's the reason why you have to think critically and you have to decide your career from that perspective. There is a specific time that it is very important. We call destination 2030. In the coming 10 years, most of the jobs are going to be changed. Meta, you know, the new company, Metaverse, is the new future that most of the, let's say, production and most of the, let's say, service industries are going to be changed. Why the universities are changing? They change because, you know, they have to adapt themselves. They have to feed not only human capital to the industries, but they have to be ready in the middle of the, let's say, transition and transformation. Because like Stanford University or MIT or Oxford, they not only feed the human capital to the market, but also they feed innovation, R&D, patents, and many different, let's say, changes in the field. That's the reason why in the grad studies, they purposely choose the right candidates for their fields. That's the reason why, you know, you have to think like that in order to understand their position, we have to know what kind of needs they, let's say, they really require in the coming years. 2030 is very critical. It's very important. In the coming 10 years that, you know, in this period, you are going to study in the, let's say, grad schools, or you are going to work in the startups or spin-outs, or let's say big corporates like Test or whatever, you know, you have to be very careful about that. You have to understand beyond going further. That's the reason why, you know, I strongly suggest first step about your roles in the market. This is very important because, you know what, most of the time students don't know about the roles that they are going to play in the future after the graduation. You know why it is so important? Because regarding to the universities, regarding to the roles, the universities prepare or supply different kinds of education. For instance, if you are going to apply for Columbia, there are 4 or 5 different schools at the university. And then most of the time, each school, like business school or school of international politics and affairs, or let's say engineering school, they require different profiles for each student. That's the reason why you have to know first your roles and your position, and then you have to know after the graduation what kind of roles you are going to play. That's the reason why I put here, you know, in the fields of higher education, we call 6 different roles that we play after the graduation, before the retirement, of course. Think about that. You are going to be academics like me, or you are going to work R&D or innovation. Don't miss about, or don't confuse about that. Academics is totally different than R&D people, because close to the technology parks or close to universities, there are beautiful, outstanding labs that they require R&D or innovation, let's say based or specialized on that, that they require specific students or graduates specialize on this field. Third one, entrepreneurships. You know, this is also another one. I'm working with, as an angel investor, I'm a member of Coherence Forum. I see many startups, spin-outs and unicorns that, you know, most of the time young people prefer to work. That's the reason why, again, students who really want to concentrate on entrepreneurship, startups or spin-out issues, they think twice about this field, these roles as well. For instance, Stanford University has minimum 9 unicorns each year. And then, you know, while you are applying to those universities or specific departments, you have to know what is the coming, let's say, target for your application. The fourth one, again, professional life. If you are going to work in Goldman Sachs or Deloitte or EY, PwC, or Gamans, we call them, Google, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, or Salesforce, you have to know again these ones. Why? Because those graduate schools, after the second week, they call all the big companies, all the tech companies, they have specific, let's say, agreements among the universities and the tech companies. They call their students and they meet with the best ones after the 15 days. I swear you, after the 15 days of the, let's say third week, you have the chance to meet with the best corporates in order to decide about that. And there is also another option, the fifth one, NGOs. There are some departments, or let's say schools like SPA, we call at Columbia, they are working directly with UN. That's the reason why those students who prefer to study in the field of NGOs, they have to choose specific universities, not by heart they choose. That's the main issue. And the last one, the performances. What does it mean, performances? There are also the fields like art, dance, or let's say art, architecture. We have to also think about these fields, because this is a coming, growing fields that we have to reaching again regarding to the roles. Please take notes. and think twice about your roles in the choosing the right university. The second one, know about financial and scholarship. You have to think about that. I am working with many countries, 1,700 students right now studying at the graduate level schools. I'm dealing with many students in the world, not only in the US, in Canada. I have many students in the UK, in Europe, like Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, let's say France, different countries, and even Far East. I have many students who are studying in Japan right now, in Hong Kong, in Shanghai, or let's say in Korea. They are specialized on specific fields. That's the reason why they have specifically chosen these universities according to their, let's say, majors. Before going further, you have to think about financials, because there are two types of financials, even three types. The first one, just the institutions are giving, like Jean Monnet, for instance. Each year I have some students, even Boğaziçi University, that they have the chance to take Jean Monnet, and this is a very important one. There are some French government scholarships or Canada proposed scholarship, specific scholarship, and also, you know, Far East governments or institutions, or let's say some NGOs propose such scholarship that you have to know. The second one is about merit base. Those who are really very good, specifically supported by the universities, and they give specific grants for that. For instance, even Aylin knows Colombia, beyond going or giving, let's say, scholarship like need-based, they prefer to give specific grant under the name of Rabi scholarship to the students who are so good in their fields, and they specifically supported them in terms of merit. The third one is about need-based. You are sending your, let's say, financials under the currencies, you know, we are unfortunately lucky, you know, we have really good chances to show our currency situation, and we can have the chance to ask need-based scholarship. You have to also decide about such issues. Additionally, for instance, in some universities, in the research universities, those universities are not only giving you the tuition or your living costs, they are also giving extra money for your studies. For instance, in the universities like University of California, Berkeley, Davis, LA, MIT, you know, the best ones are also supporting their students in terms of, let's say, salary, and they are giving extra money for that. That's the reason why you have to think about scholarship and also other grants that you have the chance to take. Search about regulations. This is another issue. In some countries, there are very rigid regulations. This is very important. Most of the time, students forget about the regulations. There are some students who came from Caltech, for instance, or from other universities, that they didn't think about the regulations of the country. Think about the US regulations, think about Canada regulations, and also UK regulations. According to the regulations, or Germany, you have to think about that, because, you know, sometimes PhD or master degree diplomas give chance to penetrate to the system. This is very important. Or after the graduation, they don't prefer to make stay in the country. That's the reason why the students lose their opportunities comparing to the citizens in that country. We have a big problem in the US right now. That's the reason why you have to rethink about the regulations as well. For instance, the UK is giving big chances. Even Canada, they have just decided of giving big opportunities for the students after the graduation. For instance, in the UK, we have 2 years extra to work. And then later on, in 5 years, you have the chance to have the residency and your citizenship. That's the reason why most of the time, UK and Canada are becoming very popular in these days comparing to United States. We don't know right now because just signed a specific research project almost 500 million US dollar almost to develop infrastructure of the US. That's the reason why we have just learned from the universities that they are going to have more qualified, let's say, graduates in the US as well. But in the last 5 years, especially during the Trump government, against the international students. That's the reason why you have to think about regulations, okay? The fourth one, choose the universities, the dream ones, realistic ones, and secure ones, while applying for the future of the jobs. Most of the time, you forget the bridging process. I have already mentioned that the undergrads is totally different than the grads. That's the reason why you have to be very careful about choosing the right grad schools, because these universities have direct, let's say, access to the field. And most of the time, even though you don't think, these universities prefer to see the right students in their universities. For instance, I have just talked with MIT people in the last week, and they said to me that they don't prefer to have Turkish students anymore. Each year, I have almost 5 MIT students accepted. That's the reason why I'm really surprised about the last decisions. I asked, the directors, and they said to me that first, we are not sure about the future of the students, because after the graduations, we don't have any chance to give jobs for them, and they come back, and then they cannot find the right, let's say, fields or industries to work. That's the reason why they don't like to see unemployed alumni in their records. They don't prefer to see. That's the reason why they reject. This is very important part that we have to think about the application process as well. We have to choose the right departments also for your future. This is critical part. That's the reason why while choosing the universities, you have to be very careful about the future of the jobs as well. While choosing the right universities, don't forget the rankings as well. But there are actually 2 best ranking system. I can show even here. I don't know the time right now, but you have to use that one. This is very important. While choosing, you have the chance to choose not only the country but also the subject. You can create your own, let's say, list. You have to use also Quest before other rankings like Shanghai or Arvo. This is also very important for the grad studies. They specifically mention about the fields, the importance, and also some important, let's say, changes in the fields. Additionally, there are some universities that they are not mentioned in the rankings. These subjects are very popular in these days, like animation, blockchain, NFT, gaming. These universities are not mentioned or have not been mentioned yet in the rankings because they are so specific, like gaming, blockchain, and NFT. For instance, rather than going to the US or UK, I strongly suggest blockchain graduates, specialize on blockchain. They most of the time prefer Far East. They are so good in blockchain. They are so good in NFT issues or something like that. That's the reason why you are choosing specific fields, it's very important to see also the names of the professors. This is also very critical. Rather than going to the rankings, I strongly suggest to check Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a perfect, or ORCID, maybe or ORCID, we call them. These are 2 important sources that we check. While checking the scholars or the other one, or ORCID, you can see the differences about the universities, because most of the time the professors are the ones that they create fields or opportunities for the grad students. According to the professors, we choose the universities. This is also very important to know. Then you have to prepare your Google's sheets. This is very important. I'm going to show you right now. I have some examples here that you can have the chance to see. Here you have to create your own personal fields. This is very important. In the meantime, while preparing such kind of Google Sheets, you have the chance to share with your professors as well. This is a very important, while writing your essays, while you are writing your resumes, it's very important to prepare such kind of, let's say, Google Sheets. I'm going to show you right now. This is very important. Before writing even the essays, I will show you two. Can you see that one? Can you see? Okay, you see here, Oxford University, the faculty members, areas. You see here, areas. And then you see here the links. This is very important. Most of the time, in order to be proper, you have to prepare such kind of, let's say, Excel form that, you know, you have the chance to work deeply what kind of fields they are studying. You see, Oxford, UCL, you know, Columbia, Stanford, Michigan, and Harvard, you have the chance to see the fields, and even here, you know, the people. You see here, I will show you right now. I have the chance to check computer science faculty member here, teams. You see here, you have to prepare something like that because you can see here artificial intelligence, machine learning, complexity, biography, selected publications. You know, this is very important. Rather than seeing, you know, these publications, I prefer to see edit, let's say, Alkin in the scholars. I check this name and go to Scholar, check the last and latest research projects. Additionally, I'm also checking their PhD students and master degree students. Those who are working with her means that you are going to work in that field as well. It gives the professor's interest in these, let's say, areas. This is very important. That's the reason why I strongly suggest to prepare such kind of, let's say, Google Sheets in order to understand, you know, what kind of profiles, you know, the universities have. I can show another one. I will show you right now. Okay, another one. This is another one. I hope that I can open. This is another complex one. This is another complex one. Maybe it's better to close. The other one is more complex. We have already prepared the requirements, the deadlines, and everything. In that way, you have the chance to see your deadlines as well. Most of the time, students are calling us in panic and they said, oh, okay, you know what? 1st of April is, sorry, 1st of December is the deadline for Stanford and I don't have any writing sample. What can I do? You know, in order to prevent such kind of panics, it's very important to know the deadlines. It's very important, you know, it's very critical. That's the reason why in the first day, you have to prepare a kind of worksheets, you know, something like that. I will show you. I can open. You see here, okay. You see here the links, courses, faculty members, notes of the faculty members, you know, something, deadlines you hear, and also requirements, TOEFL, personal statement, personal essay, transcript, portfolio, CV, GRE not required or required. You see here, this is important because most of the time you think just only statement of purpose, but they have also asked writing samples or let's say proposals, something like that. That's the reason why you have to prepare before going further. Okay, do I have any, how much time I have? Can I go further?
Yeah, you can go on, Gamze.
Okay.
It's perfect. Thank you very much. Very strategic points.
Okay, that's okay. Then, you know, prepare your Google Sheets. That's very important. Then I strongly suggest. And the 6th one, open the portals and learn the deadlines and requirements. I have already showed that one. This is very important. You have to learn about that. Then it's another aspect. You have to think about standardized tests. You are so lucky because of the pandemic. Some of the universities don't ask standardized tests. You have to check that one. And then, you know what? Rather than GRE, GMAT, IELTS, TOEFL, you know, I also suggest you to check your admissions at Wall Street University and ask that Wall Street University taught in English. That's the reason why the academic language is English. That's the reason why most of the time we do not need any IELTS or TOEFL. But some universities prefer to have, depending on the situation. I strongly suggest you another issue, another aspect that you don't know. Even though some universities do not ask TOEFL, for the American universities, I push the students to take TOEFL. You know why? Most of the time, these students have the chance to be a teaching assistant at their universities or research assistants. In order to show their level of English, they ask around, let's say 110 over 120. It's a big opportunity for those students. You know why? Because they had the chance to take extra money, like, you know, as a teaching assistant or research assistant. That's the reason why, you know, it's very critical in order to know about standardized test policies. Last year, 2 students of mine accepted by Harvard because of the pandemic. They didn't ask, for instance, GRE, and they have already mentioned about GRE policies. And then they said that they are not going to ask GRE, but in some departments could have, you have to be rechecked and then to be sure about the standard test policies. The eighth step, it is very important. Ask reference letters. Most of the time, students forget to ask the reference letters at the right time. I swear you, as a professor, I am spending almost 11 hours to write a recommendation letter, ladies and gentlemen. And in 3 days before you ask me, you know, hundreds of, let's say, reference letters, I cannot manage this. It's impossible. You know what? I am working with the admission officers. Personally, I'm a member. I have also a very strong, let's say, connection with UC Berkeley and Stanford. I'm working with them, and I can see that most of the time, even the best professors don't give the proper reference letters. Not because of them, because of you. Why? First, you are not sending or asking at the right time. And second, you are not feeding them properly. Okay? Before doing everything, go and ask or send an email to them and kindly ask that you are going to apply for the universities before maybe 2 months or 3 months before. You know, this is very important. In that way, you can be in the first of the queue. Okay, please ask, just send the email and, you know, mention that you are going to apply for some universities, and even ask their suggestions, because sometimes the university professors have a good contact with the, let's say, some departments that they are coming from the same department. For the professor from Yale sent directly to the to his colleague or her colleague and suggest you. Maybe this is very important. Most of the time you cancel or skip this part, and then you don't think strategically in that sense. And most of the time, the universities, rather than writing your statement of purpose, first they read your references. This is the critical part, because the university transfer the knowledge. We call them transfer of knowledge. We give the hand, and before going further, before reading your statement of purpose, first they read your CV and they read your, let's say, references. Later on, they check your statement of purpose. This is very critical. How I can feed my professor? This is also very important. I have to prepare very simple 1 page or 2 pages statement of purpose, my CV, my 2, 3, 4, 5 years, let's say, future plan, what kind of lessons I have already taken, what kind of project that I did with her or with him, and also my scores in that, let's say, course. Most of the time, professors don't have enough time to write about your, let's say, course, your, let's say, score, and then you have to give properly that kind of, let's say, information to the professor. In that way, it is very easy to make right them about you. This is very important. Sometimes the professor prefer to make you write something about you This is also possible. I can meet such also requirements from the professors because they don't have enough time, or they are saying yes, but they don't know about you. That's the reason why they are giving cliche, let's say, letters ready made, let's say, reference letter. It is so bad for you in terms of to make you accepted. Additionally, I have already mentioned here, we don't have only the references of the professors, we have also professionals, you know. You can have the chance to take the reference letters about the interns, for instance, regarding to your research or regarding to the internship that you are doing. We call them outsiders and insiders. Now, most of the universities prefer to see also outsiders, you know, like reco letters. You can have the chance to give, you know, from your internship or from your supervisors, from your leaders, whoever, but don't take from the boss. This is also another one. You know, they are checking from the first person from the company. It's not acceptable. We prefer to have the second person, you know, or directly that you are working with. This is very important. Most of the time we prefer your supervisor, that they can give much better idea about that. Okay, while doing this, also prepare your documents. Most of the time you forget your passports deadlines. I have many students that they miss their passport, they are old. You have to check that one. And then while doing this, also you have to think about your transcripts. And for each one, for each GPA, we have specific, let's say, strategy. Those who have over 3.8 or 3.5, they have the chance to go directly to the PhD rather than master degree. We call them combined PhD programs. You have the chance to take, and then you can directly contact with the PhD programs. You have the chance to work in the field. This is very important. There are some GPAs that we can use specific strategy. Those who are over 3. Let's say 0, and then there are also some students that below 300, 3 point. We have to think also that one. Those who have, okay, I have lower GPAs, what can I do? Well, how we can manage? Don't forget it that we have other opportunities. I have a student who was graduated from industrial engineering of Boğaziçi University and accepted by Imperial, Oxford, and also Cambridge. This is possible. Don't forget it that don't be pessimistic about your GPA. If you know the strategy, even you can have the chance to make your application so perfect that you can be accepted by the best universities like Oxford, Cambridge, and Imperial. If the students had the chance to apply for Columbia, I'm sure that she could be accepted even by Columbia. I'm sure about that. You have to know about your strategy. That's the reason why don't be pessimistic. You have to know your way. Okay, the 10th step, write your master CV and arrange according to the universities. This is another question. You know, there is a city, you know, issues that they are people are talking. Oh, okay, I have to have 1 page or 2 pages or 3 pages. How many pages do I have for CVs? I'll tell the truth. If you are applying for the job-oriented universities like MBA programs, you have to have 1 page. No doubt about that. If you are going to apply, let's say, in between universities, like SIPA in Colombia, then you have to have 2 pages. Why? Because you are going to talk about your research projects, your statement of social innovation issues, something like that, or also your proposals. If you are going to apply for PhD degree and you are going to study on machine intelligence and artificial intelligence, you have many publications, then you can have more than 2 pages, but not more than extra 5 pages, you know, put just 3, 4, maximum 5 pages we prefer. Don't forget it that before going or choosing the right CVs for each university, I use master CV. Maybe I have more than 5 pages. I call them master CV. Why I call master CV? Because it's a kind of big menu. While applying for Imperial or let's say UC Berkeley or MIT or U Toronto, I'm choosing the right activities according to the university's requirements. This is very important. I will show a very simple, let's say, CVs that I use while applying. Don't forget it that even the CVs and recommendation letters change. There is a trend, you know, in writing CVs and also in writing the proposal. I'm going to show you right now, just as an example. Last year, graduated from Boğaziçi University Economy and also Sociology, applied for Columbia, accepted by Columbia, even with the scholarship. I will show you just a little bit, you know. Okay, this is very critical one. You see that education, you see economics and also experiences, you know, and that's it, you know, just the experiences. However, for the other one, you know, while writing the subtitle, we have to use the achievements, active words. And, you know, you see here 70%, 700%, you know, 50%, you know, you have to be very critical in that sense. Rather than writing just stories, statement of purpose is totally different than the CVs. You have to show what did you do so far in your fields. That's the reason why you have to give specific, concrete examples, results in your CVs. Most of the time you are writing stories in your CVs, which is wrong, which is totally wrong in the application process. Don't forget it. It's very important while writing your CVs. However, I can show you another one maybe who is going to apply for research. That's the reason why in that case, the situation is totally different. She has or he has to mention about, let's say, about her research papers rather than just only experiences. Most of the time, again, students forget to use the right CVs for the each university. This is very important. I will show you.
And Gamze, how many times?
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay.
Maybe less, but I can finish right now, even if you wish.
There are some questions, but we will wait for you and then us.
I can finish right now if you wish.
No, if you have something, please share with us.
Okay, then
it's
better to go further then, rather than showing the CVs. Maybe it's better. I have another one that we use research rather than the experiences only. Research project, interns, leadership, social innovation projects are critically important while writing that one. And some of the best universities who are going to choose you, like PhD or R&D assistant, or let's say beyond business-wise MBA programs, they want to see your internships and also your startup experiences. In these days, sustainable development goals are strongly important. Most of the time, students forget to write about their social innovation. This is very important also to mention. And the 11th step, which is a statement of purpose, we call them, Aylin and also and Kozlu already mentioned about that, but I would like to add something more about statement of purposes. They do not only ask statement of purpose anymore. They ask proposals, ladies and gentlemen. While you are applying, you have to know critically the field that you are applying, like blockchain, NFT, or let's say AI, or let's say another subject. You have to have writing samples, and then you have to have research papers. While you are writing about that, you have to think about translation research. Check the web pages, check the departments, check the commencement date. This is very important. Most of the time, the university's policies can be seen in the commencements. This is very important. Commencement talks are very critical. The president's talks and also values. And don't forget to use diversity and inclusion issues. In these days, we are living uncertainty, and also we have many problems that we are living together, even at Boğaziçi University. You have the chance to mention critically about these issues as well. Beyond English, concentrate on the content. Story is the king. Don't forget it. That's the reason why, they check about all these issues. And they also want to learn about 3, 5, and 10 years plans in your, let's say, essays. Aylin has already mentioned about mind maps. This is very important. You have to have personal statement, additional research papers, CVs, and everything. All should be connected. We call them cohesion type of writing. Aylin has already mentioned, cohesion is very important. You don't use any subject overlap in other essay point. Each one has totally different, and then you have to see you in different facets of your personality. That's the reason why they have to know who you are first, then what you can do or what you you did so far, and what you can do in the coming future. What is your future plan and what is your action plan? They have to know about all these issues. Some universities also use software programs in the statement of purpose essays. They check active verbs. This is very important. For instance, MIT purposely use, rather than people, they prefer to use let's say software programs like NVivo or let's say TI Atlas 7. They want to know what kind of verbs you are using. They check the frequencies and other things. The 12th step, the scholarship application and also negotiations. Don't forget it that after the application and acceptances, maybe you have the chance to be accepted even by the scholarship program or grants. In that sense, please push them to have more scholarship each time. For instance, from Yale, Princeton University, or let's say Penn, I had the chance to take more than expected. Don't forget that part as well. I put here some important also, let's say, links regarding to the, let's say, job future, let's say, web pages. Why? Most of the time, the students forget to think in also the application process of the jobs. In the graduate studies, we do not apply only for the universities. We do apply also for the job opportunities. Why? You have to take critically your risks, and then while you are applying for the universities, we are also applying for the other opportunities, not only in Turkey, but in the world. And then while studying there, after the 15 days, you have to think about your, let's say, second and third stages to enter to the market, like, which one you prefer to have. That's the only thing that I have already shortened. And this is the step that we are taking into account. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was a great presentation, as I expected.
Well, very comprehensive, very well thought out. Good.
Yeah, thank you very much for our presentators. And now there are some questions, and maybe I can ask them to you, or to you both, maybe. If you want to apply 1 year after graduation to spare time for internship, one of the students asked, work experience before MBA, can we still get reference letters from our professors before graduation and use them for the next year? I don't know. Gamze, maybe you can answer this.
Which one you want to learn about that? I'm reading about MM. She's already written about me, about MIT statement of purpose guideline. She asked me about statement of objective. What are the differences? I'm reading that one. So sorry about that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead. Yeah.
I'm explaining in Turkish or in English. Which one you prefer?
If you want, we can.
Doesn't matter. I can explain. Okay.
Turkish, they will be more comfortable.
No. It's better. Maybe it's better to also to discuss about that. That's the point. Statement of purpose is totally different than statement of objectives. You see, statement of purpose is about you, your personality. We have to explain about who you are. This is very important. They are asking about resilient person to deal with the difficulties or something like that. But in the case of statement of objectives, are totally different. MIT is the kind of university that they ask specifically your future plan, your, let's say, goals, the targets, what kind of, let's say, your strategies or your dreams you have for the coming years. That's the reason why it's very important to mention about your strategies. For instance, if you are going to apply, in which department you are going to apply? She said that Turkish would be better, she said.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. İsmini öğrenebilir miyim? Mustafa Mutlu değil mi?
Hocam Mutlu, evet, Mustafa.
Tamam. Mustafa'cığım bak şimdi hangisini kullanıyorsun?
Mutlu diyebilirsiniz hocam.
Tamam.
Programda
Hangi bölümdesin?
politika bölümündeyim hocam. Startup'ım vesaire var. Ben şeye başvuracağım. Medya, Arts and Sciences.
Tamam. Bak
Medya
şimdi bak kuzum. Senin burada gerçek anlamda hedeflerini ve key results'larını istiyor. Anladın mı? Yani senin zaten iyi olduğunu assume ediyor. Burada biliyorsun Media Lab MIT'nin 1 numaralı bölümlerinden bir tane. Dünyanın en önemli bölümlerinden. Bir de göz bebeği MIT'nin. Bu yüzden senden kesinlikle istediği en önemli konulardan bir tanesi objectives'lerini istiyor. O yüzden senin çok iyi planlaman lazım. Hemen MIT'nin Media Lab'ini açacaksın. Burada çalıştığın bölümleri oluşturacaksın. Kendi hemen startup'ını ve yaptığı işini söyleyeceksin. Ve oradaki konuya göre senin MIT'nin kelimelerinin bazılarını kullanarak, hepsini değil ama, %10-20 oranında Media Lab'in objective'leri neler? Coming years, in the 10 years or so, işte 20 years. Oradaki gelen konulara göre oradaki objective şeyleri alacaksın. Onların goal'larını. Sen de o goal'larla zigzag yapacaksın. Biz bu tür essay'lere zigzag essays deriz. Zigzag essay nedir biliyor musun? Ben MIT'de bunlar var ya, sen bunu indirectly şunu söyleyeceksin. MIT Media Lab bunu istiyor. Bunu anladın. Bunu indirectly söylüyor olacaksın. Bak şimdi hemen sana söyleyeyim. MIT'nin Media Lab'ini aç ve oradaki en önemli kendi çalıştığın alanlar, özellikle oradaki profesörlerle ilgili olan kelimeleri oluştur. Ne yapmaya çalıştıklarını. Oradan sonrasında da kendinin en az minimum 5 tane objektif değerlendirmen lazım. Tamam? Burada en önemli konulardan bir tanesi ne oluyor olman lazım? Birincisi, nerede gerçekleştireceksin bu objektifi? Bunu söylüyor olman lazım. İkinci, what'tan sonra gerçekleştireceksin. Yani söylerken bunu where, when, 5 NBK var ya, 5 NBK'sını yazacaksın. Where, when, why, how, yani when, evet. Bütün bu 5 NBK'yı söyleyeceksin. Ben bunları vereceğim. İşte şurada gerçekleştireceğim. Şununla gerçekleştireceğim. Bunun için in order to, yani why'ını söylemek zorundasın özellikle. Ve bunları söylerken de kesinlikle MIT'nin çıkarmış olduğu bütün yapıyı oluşturuyor olman lazım. Ve unutmaman lazım. Bu bir. Mikroda nedir? Objektifler. Mikroda nedir? Yani seninle ilgili ne? Mezoda nedir? Yani senin yakın çevrendeki en yakın bulunduğun society'de. Mega nedir? Yani makroda nedir? Unutma ki MIT gibi okullar mega challenges'ları ön plana çıkartan bir okul. O yüzden bunun mutlaka söylüyor olman lazım. Ne yapabilirsin? Her birine 2-2-2 yapabilirsin. 2 mikro, 2 mezo, 2 tane de makro verebilirsin. Ya da 7 tane yapabilirsin. Üçüncüyü daha bu anlamda de geliştirerek. Anlatabiliyor muyum ne demek istediğimi? Ama kesinlikle statement of purpose'dan farklı bu. Burası hiç kendinden anlatmıyorsun. Anladın mı ne demek istediğimi?
Tamam. Kendimden yani hiç bu startup'ın...
Directly söylüyorsun. Anladın mı ne demek istediğimi?
Tamam.
Gamze hocam şimdi bir tane bir sene internship için zaman ayıralım demiş bir öğrencimiz. Daha sonra bu reference letter'ları, aldığımız reference letter'ları kullanabilir miyiz bir sene sonrası için? Hocalarımız çünkü ancak hatırlayacaklar. Daha önceden alalım. Bir sene internship yapalım. Ondan sonra reference letter'ları kullanalım diye sormuş bir arkadaşımız.
Şimdi hemen ona size cevap vereyim. Bu da önemli olan konulardan biri. Bir defa bir senelik iş tecrübesi yarım yamalak bir iş tecrübesi. Ne ona yarar ne buna yarar. Bir defa öyle bir şey var. Tavsiyelerimden biri minimum 3 years. Tamam mı? Eğer gerçekten, çünkü bir insanın bir şeyi öğrenebilmesi için antropolojik olarak da bunu bildikleri için 18 ay istiyorlar. Yani bir insan bir ortamda çalışabilmesi için 18 aya ihtiyaçları var. O yüzden bunların dikkate alınabilmesi için intern açısından da bakıldığında ya hemen mezuniyet sonrası olabilir hem de sonrasında 3 yıl sonra olması en iyi. Ama tabii ki iki arada bir derede kaldın. Gap year almak istedin. Unutma ki hiçbir referans mektubu maalesef ki 3 aylık olmaması gerekiyor. 3 aydan daha geç olanlar tavsiye edilen istenilen bir konu değil. Bunu sadece bir takım şeylerde kullanabilirsin. Mesela bir internship'i almışsındır, orada belki kullanabilirsin. Ama genel itibariyle biz bunu kullanmamayı tercih ediyoruz. Buradaki yapılması gereken konu şu: sen bir profesörün, bir hocanın zaten görevidir öğrencisine referans vermek. Bir defa bu hakkınızı unutmayın sevgili gençler. Sadece tek olay doğru zamanda vermek. Yani 2 ay abi pabuca getirmemek gerekiyor. Onun için yapabileceğiniz en biri. İkincisi de zaten teknik olarak impossible. Neden? Portallara girdikten sonra siz zaten onlara referans yolluyorsunuz. Ne denir, ona söyleyin şunu. Anlayın, bir link geliyor. O link mesela bana şimdi bir sürü 5 tane gelmiş, gördüm biraz önce. Ne yapıyor? O linkten bana ne yaptırtıyor? Oradan girdirtiyor, oradan bana yazdırtıyor. Bir de öyle enteresan ki bazı referans mektupları çok inanılmaz derecede değerlendirtiyor. 10 tane statistical data var. Bu öğrenci ilk sınıfınızda kaçıncı bulursunuz? Bu öğrenciye şu kadar tavsiye eder misiniz? Bu öğrenci bunu yapabilir mi, şunu yapamaz mı? Öğrenciyi bir de aynı zamanda emotional intelligence olarak da değerlendirtiyor. Social'ı iyi midir, empatisi böyle midir, böyle midir diye. O yüzden sizin yapacağınız en önemli şey, üniversiteden mezun olmadan önce hocaya gidip güzelce kendinizi anlatmak ve tanıtmak, gitmeden önce mezuniyetinizi ayarlamak, her bayramda, yılbaşında aramak, potansiyel olarak win-win situation. Bu anlamda karşılıklı bir connection'ı sağlıyor olmanız lazım. Bunu yapmanız lazım. Mesela UC Berkeley'de okuyan öğrencilerin en büyük problemlerinden ya da U Toronto'da okuyan öğrencilerin en büyük problemlerinden o. Çok üniversite büyük olduğu için öğrenci hocaya ulaşamıyor. Ama benim öğrencilerimin hiçbirinde böyle bir problem yok. Ben çünkü 1. sınıftan itibaren 2. sınıfta, 3. sınıfta o yatırımı yapıyorum. O yüzden lütfen investmentlarınızı, sosyal network investmentlarınızı doğru yapın, değerlendirin. Size tavsiye ederim. Bu arada da iyi hocasıyla ilişkisi olanın hiçbir zaman iş aramaz. Çünkü hocası onu doğru yere referansını verir, yerleştirir. Bu sadece akademi açısından değil, aynı zamanda da profesyonel dünya içinde geçerli.
Gamze hocam, Aylin hocam, siz buradayken onu da söyleyelim. Öğrencilerimiz geliyorlar, işte ben nereye başvurabilirim diye soruyorlar. Bunu kendi hocalarıyla görüşmeleri lazım. Çünkü kariyer merkezi sizin hangi alanlarda daha çok çalışmak istediğinizi veya hangi alanda daha iyi olduğunuzu bilemez. Bunu hocalarınızla birlikte yapıp bize sadece SOP gibi veya CV'niz gibi karar verdiğiniz alanlarda yapılacak işlemleri sorabilirsiniz. Biz En'le birlikte buradayız bu işlemler için. Onu da burada belirtelim. Ayrıca bu şeyin kaydı alınıyor. Kaydımız YouTube sitemizde, bu kariyer, Boğaziçi Üniversitesi Kariyer Merkezi YouTube sitesinde ve kendi web sayfamızda da yayınlanacak. Pazartesi gününe hazır etmiş oluruz herhalde bunu da. Arkadaşlarımız bayağı merak ediyorlar. Bir de bir sorumuz daha var. Bir tane SOP hazırlayalım. Bunu revize mi edelim, yoksa her seferinde yeni baştan mı SOP'yi hazırlayalım derler.
Aylin sen söyle, ben de sonradan söyleyeyim. Evet.
Her üniversitenin farklı beklentileri olabilir SOP konusunda. Ama taslak olarak hikayeniz değişmeyeceği için o hikayeye sadık kalabilirsiniz. Yani Gamze çok güzel dedi. Dışında daha bir sürü doküman var hazırlanacak ama kariyer merkezi olarak bir tek SOP konusunda destek verilebiliyor. Yani sıfır bütçeyle çalışan bir yer olduğunu düşünmenizi istiyorum, aklınıza tutmanızı istiyorum. Gamze'nin bugün bize anlattığı o kadar değerli ki bunları hiçbir yerde bulamazsınız aslında. Onun için çok teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Ama SOP'yi bir kere hazırlayabilirsiniz tabii. Ama bazı